Hi there, Crafty Peeps. Enis here from Papercrafting with Enis, and I'm on today with another Craft With Me project share sponsored by BEEBEECRAFT. So as many of you know, I am part of BEEBEECRAFT's YouTube collaboration program, and as part of that program, in exchange for videos and projects that I do, BEEBEECRAFT supplies me with some free crafty products. And so today I'm going to be using one of these cute bee focal beads, and we're going to be making a beaded pen. Now, I know that a lot of people out there have made tons and tons of beaded pens, and that's great. The only reason I'm going to do one today is, number one, because I think the bees are fun and I want to do one. But number two, there's a little something about beaded pens that I have done that I'm not really happy about, and so I think I've come up with a solution. And if the problems that I'm going to describe to you are something you've experienced, then maybe this is going to help you and you'll get something out of my little tips and tricks here. So anyway, I do have a coupon code with BEEBEECRAFT. It's Enis10, and that will save you 10% off all orders placed with them. And I would appreciate it if you do shop to please use the links that I have in my description box below, because that tells BEEBEECRAFT that people are watching my videos and that it's worth it to them to continue supplying me with products as part of their program. Also, I will have links in the description box below to some other BEEBEECRAFT products that they have supplied to me, including the charms that are on this bracelet right here. And this was also one of my other projects that I did. I will put a link in the description box below to that video, so if you're interested in making a similar bracelet, be sure to check that out. With that, I'm going to just move some of these things out of the way, and we're going to get to making this project. Okay, so I do have my beadable pen, and I'm using a black one. I got this, I think, from Temu or AliExpress. I'm using one of the focal beads. And then in this little dish here, I have a number of little things I'm going to be using. And let me just bring the camera in a little bit so we can get a better look. Hold on. Okay, so what I'm using is 3 of these 10mm beads. Okay. I am also using a little dangle that I put together. And I'm using silver chain. I'm using some 6mm crackle beads I got from Temu, as well as this charm here. And this charm did come in the same pack as the charms I used in that charm bracelet I just showed you. And there's something about this little dangle that I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit. I am also using 3 of these little things. Now, you're probably wondering what these are. Okay. This is actually a broken berry bead, and I don't know how it got broken in my stash, but I was digging around looking for some beads the other day, and I was like, what is this? And then I realized it's one of these berry beads. So apparently these beads are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers thick, and each one of these is a different layer, and that is what 3 of these are. The ends I'm not using today, but this is the type of bead I'm talking about. So one of them is actually larger than the other 2. So I'm going to use these as spacer beads. And then you'll see I've got a couple of little Hishi beads here. And I'll tell you why we're going to be using the Hishi beads in a minute. So here is the problem that I was hoping to solve. And many of you have made these pens, and you probably haven't experienced it. It may depend on the type of materials that I'm using, but sometimes when I put a charm at the top, and I do like to put charms at the top, it causes sometimes the beads or the spacers below it to do what I'm going to call wonky. Instead of being straight across, they'll be tipped one way or another because of the space that it takes for the chains to go around the post here. Okay, so I thought, oh, I'll solve that, and I bought some of these little doodads. Okay, you guys have probably seen these before, and these work great. I love them, but let me just show you this. I'm going to undo my pen here, and I do use these, but I prefer the new way that I'm going to show you. And the reason why this bothers me, well, probably because I have OCD. Okay. But you see how this is loose on here? This is going to jiggle back and forth, even with beads up underneath it. It is not going to sit straight. See how it's like off to one side, or it moves over to the other side, or it might tip on an angle. Well, I don't like that looseness. I want it to be nice and snug up there so nothing's moving around. So that's where my Hishi beads come into play. And also another thing that I run into that I don't really care about is, okay, depends on what kind of bead you're using at the end of your post here. If you use a bead that's large enough and spaced just right on your post, the bead is not going to go down inside the barrel where you can't see it, okay? Now, I like a smaller bead on the bottom sometime, but I don't want the whole thing to be hidden in there. So I've come up with a little something I think may help me out, and maybe it'll help one or two of you guys out there too. So I'm going to start putting this together, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Hishi bead, and I'm going to put it on my post. Now, the holes are a little bit smaller than the post is, so you have to actually screw it on. But once you get past that point, you can push it up. And so basically what this is going to do, and I'm going to give you a close-up, that's going to act like a cushion or a washer. But because it's made out of rubber or clay, it's going to be cushiony, and you'll be able to push up tight against it to keep things from wonking and wiggling around, okay? So with that, I'm just going to start putting my goodies on. But, oh yeah, one more thing I was going to tell you about the chain. So I don't know about you guys. Give me just a second to grab some pliers here. Okay, what I like to do is I want 2 jump rings on the end, or at least 2 jump rings, okay? And then I have my heavier chain with my little beads and charms dangling off, okay? And the reason why I want that, and I see this is coming open, so let me just tighten that up a little bit. Okay, the reason I want that is I want this first jump ring to go around the post, and then the second jump ring pushes the dangle away from the post so that it can hang nicely. So when we get done with this, you're going to see what I'm talking about. All right, so let me get this on here. Got to find my little things again. And also when you put it on, you want to try to make sure that your dangle is hanging in a way that looks nice to you. Okay, so now I have my dangle on. And then I want, now remember I said there were 3 of these and one is larger. I want these 2 that match to be down lower where they're going to be close together. So I'm going to take the larger one and put that up at the top. And then I'm going to put my 10mm bead, my focal bead. I'm going to put one of my, what I'm going to call my spacer. I'm going to put another 10mm bead, another spacer, my last 10mm bead. Okay, so that's going to be what everyone's going to see. And so now what I'm going to do, so that I can push everything up on here and make it so there's nothing loose and that everything is sitting tight, I'm going to put these 2 Hishi beads on the bottom, and they're going to act like a stopper and washers. Okay, so I'm going to screw those on, and I'm going to screw them until they won't go anymore, and I'm just going to push them up as high as I can. And that took away all the extra loose space that was up here. Okay, so I'm going to push that up there nice and tight, and then I'm going to put the post into the barrel. Okay, now first of all, you'll see that part of my last bead is inside, but I can still see it, and I like that look. Okay, now like I said, if I had a larger bead, it wouldn't go down in there, but then I can't have all the other goodies that I want on there. So that's solving my problem at the bottom. Plus those little Hishi beads are forcing everything up so that this is nice and tight. Okay, so now the other thing is I have my Hishi bead at the top. I'll give you a close-up. And it is acting as a washer to cushion my dangle and my jump ring up in there, okay? And you'll see this is nice and straight. See how straight that is? Now, I guarantee you, if that Heishi bead wasn't up in there, and this was hanging up there before this would be crooked, because it would push the jump ring around up inside of the cap here. So look at how nice that hangs off. And you'll see one of the jump rings is up inside on the post, and the other one is lifted up. It pushes it up, and it causes that dangle to fall straight down. So look how cute that looks. So anyway, that is my beadable pen. I hope that I have solved some problems that maybe somebody else has had. I know that it certainly helped solve some problems for me. And you know, like I said, I know everybody does beadable pens and they're pretty simple, but I find that these little tips are very helpful and they have helped fix some problems that I was experiencing. And by the way, if you're interested, you can win this beadable pen if you put in the description box below, I'm just buzzing by. This is a hidden giveaway. You have to be 18 years or older, a subscriber to my channel, a U.S. resident, and this is not sponsored by BEEBEECRAFT or anyone other than me. If you want further details, check the description box, and I will catch you all in the next crafty video. See you later, crafty peeps. Bye.